Eric, what did you do to make all these folks mad at you? Started my own comic book company. That's it. Arguably the least controversial thing I've done in business, yet it got me the most backlash. Really does show that the parallel economy was the true threat to their old archaic model. They simply protect the old guard.
This is a straw man. No one is mad that you started making comics. No one is raising pitchforks in favor of the big two versus all upstart comic companies. You're getting backlash for your loose association to Comicsgate and for the clickbait advertising of your comic being non-woke.
What was the straw man? You essentially confirmed what I said in this post.
This you? And I'm not ignoring anything. You are ignoring the full narrative of what's happened. They're mad that I started a comic book company. Yeah, because of you being with Comicsgate and having promoted this comic as non-woke. Let's not cut that last part out. I've never understood how just the mere mention of starting your own comic is somehow hitching yourself to Comicsgate.
If you're enjoying this content, please hit that like and subscribe button. We need you here.
Alright everybody, welcome to Comic Artist Pro Secrets. It's me, Ethan Van Sciver, your host, your friend. I'm a 29-year veteran. I've worked in comics for 29 years. 20 of those years I worked at Marvel and DC. Marvel I did X-Men, DC I did Batman, Flash, Green Lantern, mostly Green Lantern. I think that's what I'm mostly known for over there. Now I am in a unique position with Comic Artist Pro Secrets to actually tell you guys a thing or two about the culture within these publishers, which are housed by big corporations, and to actually push back in the culture war against the authoritarian left, which has certainly taken over the comic book industry. They've taken over everything, and they have assisted these big corporations in allowing comic book companies to publish pamphlets that have become propaganda first, stories second, in order to push the corporations that house these publishers their own personal brand of politics that they would like to espouse in order to gain tax benefits, tax credits, social credit score with the ESG, etc., etc. They are incentivized, these companies, these little comic book publishers, by their parent companies to espouse left-wing propaganda. So the common complaint for people like me and people like Eric July, who we're going to look at in a second, is that it's very difficult to make art, to make genuine art, to tell good stories when your obligation is primarily to create propaganda. Do you understand? When your job as a comic book creator is to produce propaganda, to push a viewpoint, to push social engineering, it's difficult for an artist, a creative person, to actually be honest and create something that is insightful, says something about something genuine and honest about the human condition, or any number of other things that we used to be able to do with comics. And not only that, it's no fun. I mean, even if you're just going to do a rock and roll, rock'em sock'em superhero versus supervillain story, if you've got to be conscious of these people's, of the corporation's perspective and how they want to appear to the world, then it's very difficult to go astray of anything that is not mainstream, radical. Well, is it mainstream these days? I mean, how mainstream is Antifa? It's getting there, isn't it? It certainly is getting there. So anyway, we've got this guy, Eric July, who's a libertarian. He works for Blaze TV, which is Glenn Beck's media company. And he has quite a following. I mean, this guy is likable. He's very charismatic. He's a good debater. I'm not a great debater. Thankfully, most of the people who want to debate me are really stupid, which always makes me look better. But Eric July debates very well. I mean, he's good at it, and he's amassed quite a following of fans who were supportive of his ambitions as a comic book fan to push back in the comic book culture war by creating his own comic book company. And what he is finding here, I think, over the past 6 weeks. Okay, he launched his book 6 weeks ago. I saw him #1. And he raised, I think he's probably at $3.5 million right now for a single issue. What he has found is exactly what I found. And once you try to make a comic book or, launch a business within comic books that doesn't align with wokesters, with these radical authoritarian leftists within the comic book industry who gatekeep it, you are going to get all kinds of static. You're going to get weird static. You're going to get abuse. You're going to get questions. You're going to get people looking into you. You're going to have rumors started about you. You are going to face nonstop unfair scrutiny and abuse. And I think that's what Eric July is experiencing now. And what's interesting about it is because his following is so much bigger than mine, and because his audience is kind of new sometimes to the comic book scene. He's got like 500,000 subscribers, followers. His social media footprint is gigantic. Because of all of that, like a lot of his followers don't know what Comicsgate even is. And Comicsgate is the movement that I subscribe to, that I belong to. It's a big part of my life. We push back against the radical authoritarian left, and they hate us. You will find these soy boys. You will find these very strange people. I mean, the weirdest people. People, if they sat on the same bus as you, you would get off the bus. These people. I mean, these are crazy furries, weirdos. Sorry for furries out there that are not crazy, but I've experienced enough abuse from people who have little avatars with like cartoon animals in them to I don't know, have a bad taste over them. But Eric is now experiencing what I've been experiencing for a long time, and that is the static. That is the electric wall that you will hit when you try to subvert. Subvert, is that the right word? When you try to circumvent these gatekeepers. The comic book industry is, for these people, the source of their power and authority. And in order to be a part of it, they want to know that they have some control over you, that you are going to be obedient to them, that you're going to pay them respect, and that you are, if the time comes when they need to shame you because you've stepped out of line, you are going to be suitably shamed by them. They need to know they can drum you out whenever they need to. That's what they need. I think this is new for Eric and his fans as well. Like, I'm reading some of this and it's great. Like, people are saying Comicsgate isn't even really a thing, is it? Like, what is Comicsgate? And it's like, here's my response. Okay, you're seeing this ass clown leftist, and there's this one guy in particular who was just going hard in the paint against Eric July, and basically what his complaint is, you know what? You're getting static and pushback from us because you're saying that your comic book is anti-woke, and you're sort of aligning with Comicsgate. You're like sort of aligning with them. And therefore, I've got to be here, and I've got to give you trouble, and I've got to look into your finances, and I've got to call you a fraud and a huckster, and I've got to call you a scammer and a grifter, which is all they do all day long. I mean, they really, really are abusive people who do everything they can to tear down these privately held, independent comic book businesses that Comicsgate encourages. And so, look, you see this, right? I'm telling these guys, have you seen for 6 weeks the kind of abuse that Eric July faces? It's extraordinary just because he is, saying his comic isn't woke, right? Have you noticed that Eric is experiencing non-stop abuse for not submitting to the authoritarian culture within comics? Guess what? Welcome to Comicsgate. That's why we exist. The reason why we exist is because you have to make a stand. A stand like Eric is making right now, whether he wants to say I am Comicsgate or not, is irrelevant. They will now see him as Comicsgate. They're going to see everybody who aligns with Eric, everybody who purchases his book, everybody who purchases my book, CYBERFROG, everybody who is a part of the independent comics movement in the face of the slow collapse of the mainstream comic book industry under the weight of its own excesses, and it's gradually becoming irrelevant. Everybody who aligns with this new creatively freeing movement called Comicsgate is going to face this kind of abuse. And this kind of abuse is why Comicsgate exists. It is the conflict. Comicsgate was created, the term was created to describe the conflict that happens between people who want to be free, creative people who want to be free, and the forces that oppose them. We have just decided to call ourselves Comicsgate. As a movement, we've just said, look, that's who we are. If that's what you want to call us, that's what you want to call this conflict, we'll take that name on for ourselves and just see ourselves as a gateway towards freedom, a gateway towards creative freedom within comics. Now, if Eric wants us to stop, one of the first things that he's going to have to do is just come out and say, I disavow Comicsgate. I actually tweeted this to him. I said, if you want this abuse to stop, disavow Comicsgate. Disavow me, disavow John Malin, disavow Shane Davis, Graham Nolan, Aaron Lopresti. Disavow all of these creators around you who align with Comicsgate because of a sense of morality and ethics, which is why, again, how could you not? In my opinion, if you're not a radical leftist, I don't understand why you aren't Comicsgate. If you're a comic book fan, it doesn't make sense to me. Disavow, and they'll stop for a second. Okay, they'll give you a little breathing room. They'll celebrate that one victory as you submit to them in that way, and then they're going to push forward and they're going to continue to wear you down until they've got you under their complete and total control. And don't think I haven't seen this happen to other creators. We've seen it happen to other creative people working within the mainstream who have dared to sort of say hi to Comicsgate, to indicate that, yeah, you know what, they're not, we do agree with some of the stuff that they have to say. They get hammered back down so hard. If they want to keep their jobs drawing Batman for DC Comics, you need to disavow Comicsgate. The good news is this: Eric July doesn't need to submit to anyone. He doesn't need anyone's approval to be able to do what he does, except for you, the fans. And that's the great thing about Comicsgate. We don't need anyone's approval either. We're just doing what we do and flying right in the face of those who would question us. And those people are very angry. So get ready. I mean, this is, it's funny because it's horrible, it's stupid, and it's never going to stop. Until we win, until these people are shamed as the cultural rot, as the cultural evil that they are, until this radical movement of authoritarian leftists is actually shamed into silence, they will never stop. So we can't stop either, and that's why I want you to support independent comics today. Go to comicsgate.org and look at all of the great campaigns by independent creators who've dared to stand up to the people who are attacking Eric July right now. Go to CYBERFROG. That's my comic book, CYBERFROG Wrecked Planet, and back that today. Go to our eBay store. You can pick up the first issue of CYBERFROG at a very good price. And I want to thank you guys for doing that. Thanks for standing behind us, and understand that whether you want to face it or not, whether Eric July's friends want to understand it, like some of the people who are like, Comicsgate, what is Comicsgate? Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, eventually you will. You're in a culture war. We're all in a culture war right now. And it doesn't matter what your political leanings happen to be. If you want good stories over propaganda, you align with Comicsgate, and you're definitely welcome here. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you again soon with another video. Take care. Hello, Indiegogo backers. CYBERFROG 2 Wrecked Planet Second Chance campaign is live on Indiegogo right now, just in time to join the fight for independent comics. We need your support. Back it today. Links in the description below.
The All Caps Comics eBay store is live for all of your non-soy comic book needs. Whether it's CYBERFROG, Starblades, or Rainbow the Brute, ask for it in all caps. Check out the link in the description below. Hey, come follow me on Twitter, @EthanVanSkyver.